Hi, gang. Happy Monday. It is April 22nd, Earth Day. So, what better day than to get outside, mark up that habit, as well as this Monday motivation when you watch it. So, rack up some few more points. We've got another little over a week left in our April challenge. So, which again, I know did not start on time. So, points may be lower overall, but a lot of you are tracking nutrition for the first time. A lot of you are adding in a couple extra habits or getting better at tracking the habits we've been working on. It's been that steady increase in goals. So, I'm really proud of you. I know even if you don't add new things right now, because remember, we don't always have to add, right, to make things better. Just being present and approaching this season where it's spring and everything is happening, it seems like all at once. It can be hard. We get distracted or we can feel overwhelmed and stressed. And so, thought for the week come in after these other little quick things will help address that and just give you some ways to think about it a little differently, maybe prepare and work smarter, not harder. Always my goal. Couple things you'll notice. I think it came up with almost everyone's chat, but and they were in this month's workout, and they'll definitely continue to be the same way next month. Is mobility exercises, which are exercises you find in the No Bra days, are inserted into your warm up. So if you're typically a person who just kind of glosses over your warm up and does your own thing, maybe pay an extra little beat of attention and try to work in one or two of those. Of all the workouts that get skipped the most, it is No Bra day. And, I don't blame you. It's easy for me to skip too. So what I've started doing is just putting in pieces of it every day. And so instead of all at once, it's infused in every single workout, or it may be part of a circuit or part of a recovery to cut down on rest time, but give you a little bit of an active rest and workout. So keep an eye out for those. Make sure you do them. The No Bra days will always stay there on your day if you like a rest day in between, or a lot of you have asked for it to go on a weekend, give you something to do on the weekend and help you push it through Monday through Friday, because maybe you're still only going to hit 4 days anyway. So that's where those are going to be. I think it's a great goal to have mobility training every day. Lack of mobility and flexibility is the number one reason that people stop exercise or don't progress in exercise, because we don't have the functionality to continue the move and progress with heavier loads. So leading into that, loading. If you have been coasting, I've noticed some RPEs are starting to come down like into this 5 to 6 range on strength workouts. And I would really like that to stay above 6. So that tells me that or maybe you've typically been at an 8 and you've now dropped to a 6. If you need a lower intensity right now, that is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with 6 out of 10. But you've got to watch out that you're not coasting through and just going through the motions on these lifts, because if you're able to do 3 to 4 sets with 10, 12 quality reps, that's a sign that you can handle more weight. And if you don't eventually take that step, you're not getting weaker, but your strength program is regressing because the demands on your body are not going to be high. Your body adapts, right? So it's just going to be like a routine kind of thing. You see these marathoners that can go out and run 10 miles at 8 minute miles, and they could talk and walk and eat breakfast while they're doing it. It's not hard for them because they've done more. So we just don't want to end up in going through the motions and not seeing strength progressions as we go. So what does that mean in terms of what do you need to do? If I haven't messaged you, because I don't want to necessarily single you out on the phone, but maybe I need to for some of you if this doesn't change. And I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just saying, hey, we can learn. We can do better. Know better, do better. Work smarter, not harder. Is when you can do 12 reps at four sets, you for sure need to go up in weight. Even if you're in the 3 sets of 10 to 12, chances are you'd probably be able to get another set, and I'd be fine with that, counting that. You just may not always do 4 sets, so that's okay. What we need to do then is go up in weight if you want to continue to build that strength and be able to really keep progressing. So what you want to do is go up by a weight that would drop you down to like the 5 to 8 rep range. If you can't do 5, then we're going up too much at once. So when you drop it down to 5 to 8 reps at a heavier weight, you can consider adding an extra set. So say it's 3, add 4. If you were doing 4, add a fifth, and see how that goes, trying to maintain 5 reps all the time. If you hit a set where you can't do 5 reps, it's okay. Go back to the other weight and finish. Those aren't necessarily drop sets, they're just new sets at your new weight. So if you have specific questions on this, feel free to message me. I'm looking really closely at reps and weights this week because it is most of your last week in a block, to make recommendations, make sure we're not coasting through. So I don't necessarily keep tabs on it every week unless you're in a custom version of the training program. But those of you in custom programs, you know that I'm watching and you've gotten messages like you need to go. But for those of you who are more just here for strength and accountability, yeah, this is a week, it's not a test week, but if you want to think of it, I'm really looking closely at those to make recommendations. So if I do suggest you need to go up in weight, that's a good thing. That is hard-earned muscle that you have grown and developed, and we want to keep doing that. Because if you don't keep challenging yourself, you actually start moving backwards because it's the challenge that makes the difference. Does that make sense? So in the meantime, though, because I know weights are an investment, and maybe you don't want to go up in heavier weight, or the jump is still too great that you have found when you've tried it before. One, try it again. But other things you can do, we've talked about it before, two things. One is slow down the down. For the most part, that's anytime you have to resist gravity. If you're fighting, if gravity's pulling you down, resist it. Go down slower. Up to like a count of 3 to 5 is usually the good power tempo, we want to call it. And you can go ahead and still take the pause. It doesn't have to be the immediate power tempo. We're not in a power phase right now, but you can still do like a 1 up, hold, 3 down, hold, 1 up, 1 or 2 up kind of thing. You can probably see my arm doing a bicep curl, but that's what it was doing. Other things you can do is you can hold it. It's called an isometric hold. You can hold it at the point where your muscle is contracted. So if it's like a glute bridge, you're going to hold your butt up at the top and squeeze for an extra beat or two. If you're doing a bicep curl, hold it up here for an extra beat or two before you start that descent. Those are just different ways that you can work on adding some intensity. There really isn't a way in trainers to factor in the tempo, which is tricky, but your rate of effort, your score at the end should go up with that way as well. So, all right, long way around to our talk of the week, which is don't fight the same fight every single time. And I mean specifically, if you constantly are fighting the same battles in your house or against yourself, in your mind, with your habits, with your actions, if you keep fighting the same fight, it's going to drain you, right? It's a leak in the boat. It's going to drain the system, and it's going to make you short-tempered, tired out, and not get anywhere. You're just going to be stuck. So what you can do is change your approach, right? Either manage your environment differently, so don't buy the stuff in your house, or don't sign up for the things. Set up your environment where the stuff you want to do is easier and the stuff you don't want to do is harder to get to. But also approach it with a different solution. So maybe your solution is not a 45-minute workout. Maybe your solution could be a 10-minute workout. Maybe it's a 20-minute workout more frequently, or two different points in the day. It's not the same as like a round peg square hole, but kind of the same thing. If you have a problem and you're not matching the solution to the problem, well, it's not going to get better. And so try to have that open mind with it. Nothing may be coming to mind right now for you, but you may find yourself in the future. So bank this. Like, oh my gosh, the same thing keeps happening. If it's like the shoes are always in the way, well, you need a different shoe storage solution, right? One that works. And the good news is there's usually more than just one right way. There's not this is the way, which is cool. And it's the same thing for workouts. It's the same thing for food, right? But try to approach it with that curiosity mindset of, I wonder what would happen if, or wonder if this can work. And then if it doesn't, be like, oh, nope, I learned it doesn't work. And just try to have that open-minded, that growth mindset of, this could work. I'm looking for multiple solutions, and, pull the Einstein. If it doesn't work, well, you're going to find 100 ways it doesn't work. And that's okay. Hey, that's an accomplishment. It means you're trying. Just passively like taking the same beating, dealing with the same problem over and over, that's a chronic stressor. And over time, that keeps our cortisol levels high, which affects our hormone balance in terms of estrogen, cortisol, I think insulin's probably in there too. So that's not good for our physical health or our mental health. And so that's 2 strikes against you. Don't go for the third, right? Repeated chronic stressors are really not good for our health overall. Um, it pushes that line from a stress that creates challenge and change and overcome and a sense of accomplishment to distress, where we have a significant gap between where we are and where we want to be, and that's all we focus on, and it doesn't seem like it's getting any closer. So those over and over battles you're fighting where you just can't seem to get anywhere, you're probably not imagining it. You're probably really not getting anywhere with it. So here's your sign. Stop, take a step back. What can you do different? What environment things can you control? What other solutions can you try? And sometimes too, like, what is a reasonable expectation? Um, when I was seeing my therapist back in Oklahoma, she was like, well, that's not a realistic expectation. And it kind of sucks when you get hit with that one. You're like, oh, and it's not like you can just turn that off overnight. At least I can't. But coaching and reminding yourself of that, like, maybe my expectation is off. And it doesn't have to be a finite thing, right? Things are not always the same. Things are always changing. um we're always able to change if we are willing to try it. So just recognizing when you might be in one of those spots, or even helping people around you. You're like, well, it's kind of, you're the same thing, you tell me the same thing over and over. Like, do you want help, or are you going to stay here? Sometimes we just have to stay until we can take it no more, right? I get it. But looking at what could potentially be on the other side can sometimes help pull you out of that. I call it the crazy cycle. Like, ooh, yep, we just got to keep doing it over and over and over again until we decide it's worth it to try something different. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to tell you should do something different, because I'm not talking about anyone in specifically, but just know and recognize when you need to try a different solution. We need to make some changes to move past fighting the same fight over and over. Because again, that stress becomes distress, and that affects our health and our well-being and just motivation for everything. So it kind of erodes and implodes all at once. So not a good thing. But anyways, let's try to end on a high note. A couple of you are getting really close to new workout milestones. I have not posted or emailed in a while. I've kind of gotten off my schedule on that, exploring some other fun things. So those are coming back. I will get back on Instagram eventually, and been working on some blogs and get some more mobility exercises up. So reminder to April recipes I sent out last week. If you didn't see them, you can scroll up in the message thread, or just message in like the group thread, or just message me and I'll resend it to you. So those will be going out in my email list as well. So if you know any friends or family who may want them, just shoot them the link to sign up for my emails, and they will get them at the end of this week. So alrighty, gang, have a great week and get outside and enjoy hopefully a nice spring day. I'll see you next week.